from the course. So today, let's briefly look at style and development. Style and development. Because each book has its own peculiarity, and books generally, they have specific style of constructing and making them, both the physical aspects and the content aspect of the book. So when we are dealing with style organization, we are looking at in the first general organization of a text. Because there are several items or several sections that we have in books. And we should understand what each of these sections has to do with the text. And moreover, in doing that, we examine different aspects of the book and the various purposes for those aspects. So we have different aspects of a book which are used for the various purposes. The number one in the book is text. Text is very crucial in the book, but under text, we have a lot of things that we may need to also look at. You should know that text is the written information that the author has to pass across to the audience to read. Text is the written information that the author has for the audience to study. And this is the reason when you open a book, what you find in the book is the text, written in form of the chapterization, chapter 1, chapter 2, information about the book, bibliographic impression, and the rest. So text is crucial in every book. Perhaps we call the book text book because it contains text, which is referred to as the written form of language, the written language that contains the information that the author prepared for the audience to read. And all your write-up, all your research and everything, you need to read the text aspect of a book to get your information. And in support to this, we have illustrations. Illustrations are used to give additional information about the text. The text is referred to as the written words. In words, sentences, paragraphs, chapters, and the rest. After we have the written word that contains the real information for the text, then we need illustrations. These illustrations supply additional information to make the text clear. Some things might have been written, maybe it may not be so clear to the audience. But by the time we bring the illustrations in, illustration will simplify the meaning of the text with the use of some graphic and visual items to make the text interesting. For example, we can use maps, graphs, quotations, tables, diagrams, and the rest. So all these are under illustrations, and their purpose is to aid effective understanding of the text. Starting with the maps, we can use the map of a country. Maybe you are writing about a particular country. You may need to insert the map of that country in your write-up, or writing about a state, a region, a town, area. If you are writing on University of Lagos, it's crucial that you get the map of University of Lagos and let it be part of the illustration in your write-up. Writing on Faculty of Art or Faculty of Engineering or Education, is better you get the map of University of Lagos, then try to get the map of the Faculty of Education. So that when we know that when we get to University of Lagos, this is the location of Faculty of Education. If you're writing on a particular department, maybe Art and Social Sciences, you also need to track the map to know where it is located in the Faculty of Education. So different maps of an area, of a place, organization, institution, town, state can be used as an illustration in a text so that the text can present vivid picture of what has been written in that book. Beside maps, we can also use graphs. Graph has to do with drawing and plotting. So if the graph will help us out, we can employ graph and plotting of graph as a means of illustration. Like some of you did during your O-level in mathematics or geography. So graph may be brought in and you present your graph, plot it. And apart from graph, we have charts, pie chart, bar chart, or any of them can be used for effective illustration in a book. And apart from various graphs that we can bring into the text, we can use quotation. And if you are reading some articles and some paper, you realize that the use of quotation is crucial. That is taking text from someone or from another book and insert it in your own and stating the speaker of that particular text to corroborate what you are working on. There is no problem using a quotation, but when you use a quotation, you must cite the source. And it's advisable that instead of using too much of a quotation, you can paraphrase the quotation, but still, you still need to cite the source. This is what you are writing about, and you research, you can realize that someone has made a statement that perfectly explains what you are trying to write on, or what you're trying to discuss. So such quotation may serve as an illustration in your text. So another means of illustration, we have tables. Probably they are called tables and figures. Tables and figures and also diagram. So tables are used for effective illustration because it enables you to state something in a tabular form. It may be 2 or 3, arrange it, and fix necessary text, necessary items in the table. And when you use diagrams, this particular diagram, either you created a diagram or you get it from somewhere. So you can use diagram also. We call that one figures. While you label table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, the diagram is labeled as figures. Figure 1, image of this particular thing. Figure 2, this grouping of this. Figure 3, and the rest. So tables and figures are mostly used as illustration, especially in a statistical text, where it has to do with illustration, calculation, and the rest. And then we also have the use of graph in such situations too. So all these are meant to project effective understanding of the texts in your book. And beside that, font is crucial in book writing. If your book will be attractive and will win the purpose of writing it, your text will play crucial role. And you know we have the fonts and font number, font type, and font size. So these are used to describe character of text. If you want the text to be big, there's a particular font size to use. And a particular font type, you also need to consider to use. So the font type and number are appropriate for different genre of text. And this should be selected to convey the message of the author in a conventional manner. If you are writing something that you need to gain attention of certain group of people, you need the font type that hello, are we still together? Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Okay, as I was saying, you need to choose the fonts that will bring out the beauty of your write-up. You don't just choose fonts carelessly, but look for the one. Your font must not be too tiny, must not be too big. And for most of the book, you may not need to, like using 9 font size may be too small. Some 10 may be too small, maybe by 11, official one is 12, but 11 font may be used for certain kind of book. Some may be 10, if it's not big, but 10 may be too tiny, and 14 is too big. So you need to choose the appropriate fonts that will bring out the beauty of your book, that will not ridicule everything you have to do on it. So fonts has to be chosen professionally, the font type and the font number size. And beside that, we have title and heading in the book. We have title and heading, like I mentioned earlier, that each chapter has its own title. And under that title, we have headings and subheadings. And when you are writing your book, you must get the appropriate title for the chapter and break that title down to heading and subheadings. So we say it is important to indicate the breakdown of a text to different sections. Title is the identity that label a text, while headings and subheadings are different sections that the title is broken to. So we need to know that headings and subheadings are crucial in a write-up. If you engage in the writing of biography of someone, maybe the chapter Early Life of Gbenga Adetunji, Early Life and Challenges. In that place, you have section that will be on early life, the stages. We will break it down chronologically, different age as the person grows, the challenges and as the person grows the achievement. And also there will be another section on the challenges. Even among the challenges, we also have to break it down to lighter affliction and serious encounter in life. So by that, you will be able to account for the title and using different headings under the title to clarify the issues that might have happened in that person's life as the person grow. And if you're also writing for an organization or a company, those are the things you need to really observe, break it down, section by section, department by department, unit by units. So those subheadings will help you to achieve detailed presentation that will justify your title and headings, several headings that you may have in such particular write-up. So we can say that the title is broken down to chapters, and chapters are broken down to headings and subheadings. That is very crucial. Because if you don't get it right at this stage, the book may not be able to carry its beauty and actually convey the effectiveness of the information supposed to pass across. And once we have been able to achieve the breaking down of the title of the book into chapters and chapters into headings and subheadings, while we engage in the writing of the text, we may need to emphasize some section. Emphasis may be needed. And once there is need for emphasis, there are different ways in which we express emphasis, because emphasis is used to show relevance of important parts of a text. It shows relevance of important parts of a text. So emphasis, that means that you want your reader to understand the specialty or uniqueness of a particular aspect of the text. So you can do that by making a particular part of the text different from others. So you can lay emphasis on the text through the use of special characters. You can use special characters, bold, italics, underlining, and special fonts might be selected to show the importance or uniqueness of that particular section of the text. So once you italicize, we know that you are laying emphasis on something. You are pointing out something in the write-up, because all other aspects of the text is written in normal fonts, but the italics has a message. You use the bold, you are calling attention to something. You shout it. When you bolden a part of a text, you shout that part of a text. And underlining is also used to draw attention of the reader to something. And the next one is abbreviations. Abbreviations. When you use abbreviations, it's advisable that you use the conventional abbreviation, because people understand what it means, and that encourage good writing. Even that, if you use any other abbreviation, you are expected to state it in the list of abbreviations. You are expected to state it, what your abbreviation means in the list of abbreviation. In the current dispensation of your Gen Z, you realize that there are several abbreviations you are using. There are some of us that don't belong to that generation may not understand. So in that situation, it's on you to state the full meaning of the abbreviation used in a text. So you may have list of abbreviation. So when you're using new abbreviation relevant to your nature of your research, you should know that such abbreviation should be stated so that your reader will not misunderstand your message. You can create a section on list of abbreviations, not to confuse the readers, and that will help your reader to interpret your information in a clear and concise manner. And also, your work may require dates. If it has to do with chronology, and now that you are going to do something relating to biography, you need to get the date. And using dates in the text, you must say the correct dates and get the appropriate information from your source. You may need to conduct a kind of interview. Some people ask questions, meet some people, get information, get the dates, and use the appropriate approved format for the dates. And your dates must correct, not that they tell you on the first, you now put second there because you have forgotten what the person said. You are passing wrong information across to society. And also in terms of time, if you need to use time, give correct time. Supply correct time. And make sure your time connects with tense. Make sure the time connects with tense. So you must say this the particular event occurs at so particular time of the day. If it's night, state it. So you should be careful also in the choice of time. Make sure you supply accurate and correct information, because all these will help in proving the credibility of your write-up, because your information must be true and you cannot supply false information. So that's about the style and organization of the texts. Any question on that? On their organization, any question on that? So we are through with that. So all those pieces of information, you need to take them serious.
Excuse me,
Okay.
sir. I have a question, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I want to ask concerning the style and development. You mentioned earlier that each chapter must have a title and the title must have subtitle. So I want to ask, is it every chapter that really needs to be
Sure.
divided into subtitles?
Sure.
Or depending on the topic or the...
Every chapter must have its own title, headings, and subheadings. It's needed. Since you are not writing a novel, it's only a novel you can just consider writing a story on, but each chapter must have its own title and subtitle. It's compulsory. And that's why if you look at textbooks, you realize that the textbook has heading. Under each of the heading, there are subheadings. And that's what will help you to capture all the necessary information in the texts. So that's that. Any other question? Any other question before we proceed? So if there's no other question, let's just proceed to our next item. So we are looking at language. And this is very crucial in every writing. So language determines the beauty, the quality, of your writing, especially in the assignments you have to do. You determine the effectiveness of your write-up. So whether a write-up will be good or bad, excellent or poor, it depends on the language used in the text. So language makes us realize whether a writing will be effective or not. We could say that it makes writing effective when it communicates a clear message to the reader. Language makes writing effective when it communicates a clear message to the reader. But if your writing does not communicate clearly to your reader, there will be a problem. There will be serious issue for you to contend with. So, writing is the tool through which the message of the writer is encoded and disseminated to the reader. We could say that language is the tool through which the message of the reader is encoded and disseminated to the reader. It determines the nature and quality of your writing. Because if you have a wonderful idea, brilliant idea, but you lack language, how will you compose or construct your writing? And for you to construct effective writing, you need the tool, and that tool is language. And the tool will help you to package and encode the information in your write-up. So, language helps in construction of the information of the writer and help in dissemination to the reader. And good knowledge of the language enables the reader to comprehend the message of the writer. So when we're talking about language, there are certain things we need to understand. We need good grammatical expressions, appropriate use of punctuation marks, and varying sentence structures. Good grammatical expression, appropriate use of punctuation marks, and varying sentence structure. All these are crucial in your writing. And by the time you're able to manage them well, your writing will be one of the best. And you should note that every successful writer needs mastery of language. Not only that, and also should make a good choice. You need to make a good choice of punctuation, grammar, and every other aspect of language according to the purpose of writing. So let's just observe each of them concerning grammar. So whoever want to engage in writing must have good knowledge of grammar to compose meaningful expression. Because if you don't have good knowledge of grammar, your sentence construction will have a problem. Your phrases and clauses will create confusion. You should understand the rule of concord, tense, aspects, and several other things in language. You should be able to construct meaningful sentences. Meaningful sentences. There should be connection. You need to use your connectors rightly. When you need to use a signpost in your writing to link one thing to another, you are supposed to use it effectively. So, grammar is crucial because if you don't have good knowledge of grammar, you may not be able to compose meaningful expressions. And these meaningful expressions will convey your message to the reader. And it's not so good for your reader not to be able to comprehend what you have labored, struggled, sacrificed to write as a book. And this is the reason some people that want to write a book in a haste may not have good editorial work. And if the person does not have the good command of language being used in that book, there will be serious issue. The person might have invested a lot, paid a lot of money after the book is being produced, and later realize that the book has a lot of grammatical infelicities. And that may discourage the writer and put him in debt. So language used in book writing must comply with various grammatical conventions. Must comply with various grammatical conventions, such as concord, tense, number, aspects, mood, correct choice of words, and expressions. So all these rules must guide effective writing. But if the writer does not have this knowledge of all these grammatical elements or grammatical categories, there will be a problem. Because when we are talking about the choice of word, there are some words that you can choose most appropriate to what you have to say. And in the place of that choice of word, that's why you need to bring your synonyms and antonyms into the fore. Antonymy and synonymy. When we are talking about synonymy, does not mean exactly the same word, nearest in meaning. And all the words in synonyms do not have the same meaning. Out of them, you need to make the appropriate choice of the word that will carry the expected meaning. And also in your expression, there are several ways of saying one thing. Several ways of saying one thing. You need to make the appropriate choice of how you construct your information in a way that will appeal to your audience. All these rules are crucial. You must not be careless in them. If your reader begins to read and realize that a concord issue, singular subject does not agree with singular verb. Plural subject does not tally with plural verb. Pronoun and antecedent do not correspond. We are talking about a man. You end up mentioning she. You realize that there will be a lot of issue. And that's why you need to be careful when you are writing. And more importantly, when you are doing editorial work of your write-up. Because there may be some on this oversight during the writing process. But when you are doing the editorial work, editing and proofreading, you must put all your arsenal in place to thoroughly comb the texts in order to convey the appropriate message. So, the writing must comply with various grammatical conventions. And also, once the writer is able to comply with these conventions, the writer will be able to construct correct phrases, clauses, and sentences, which will present the message in a book with clarity. And that will help the writer to present the message in the book with clarity. And once the information is clear to the audience, the writer has little problem. So, and that will make the information in the book meaningful. So, we should note that grammar refers to rules that guide how language is used. Grammar refers to rules that guide how language is used. And if a user of a language violates any of the rules in the expression, such expression becomes ungrammatical. you see that such expression becomes ungrammatical. That will no longer be acceptable. It won't be acceptable, becomes ungrammatical. And that's what we talk about errors in books. And your audience are not interested in proofreading your work. They want to read your write-up and enjoy it. They want to see the free flow of your thoughts, your idea, your intention, and the rest. That's their concern. They are not interested in your errors. And that's the reason you need to be careful with your grammar. You can see that a book with a well-designed cover, but filled with grammatical errors, will put the reader off. So nobody would like to read such a book. As beautiful as it appears, well-designed, beautiful cover, graphic illustration, but the first sentence you read has a lot of crisis. You know, such text, you just drop it and go away. And you may not be able to come back to read it again. That may be the end of that book. And you as a writer, you need to mind that seriously and don't joke with grammar, because grammar has a lot. It has a lot. And when you engage in syntactic analysis, you are meant to account for every word in the sentence construction. You should know the reason why you choose a particular word, a particular adjective to modify a particular noun, a particular adverb to modify a particular verb, and a particular subject to go with a particular verb. And if there is a complement, a particular complement, each item must be accounted for. But if you just write, you can't account for the word you are using, you may not achieve the goal of writing the text. Aside grammar, we also have punctuation. Punctuation is another powerful tool of writing. It's another powerful tool of writing. And we can say that punctuation helps us to write, to read, and interpret the written information. They help us to write, they help us to read, and also to interpret written information or words. So when you are writing, you realize that it's crucial that you apply appropriate mark of punctuation. When you end the sentence, we expect you to insert either a full stop, exclamation mark, or a question mark to show that an idea has been stated. But if those ones are not there, what you have written are just clauses, not sentences. And that will guide your reader to expect you to add some information to it. You can't write a sentence and put a comma there, or a semicolon, or just dash. It shows that that sentence has an issue. So punctuation marks help in the organization of written expression in order to produce the required meaning. Because if they are not well used, your write-up may not supply the expected or required meaning. You can say that bad punctuation can mar a well-written essay. You have chosen the grammar well, do every other thing well, but you make problem with punctuation marks. That will be serious issue. Subject, concord, agreement is settled. Tense, aspect, mood, and every other aspect of grammar you have mastered. But the punctuation you are supposed to insert at the appropriate place has some faults. It will affect the writing. And because if you don't use the punctuation effectively, it may confuse your reader. It may give your write-up different meaning. Like the example I have here, Mr. Fred said the consultant will arrive tomorrow. We can say that somebody says something. But if you are putting it in position and breaking it down more, we say that Mr. Fred, comma, starting with the quotation. Mr. Fred said, then the consultant will arrive tomorrow. The consultant will arrive tomorrow here is actually utterance from Mr. Fred. Actually, direct utterance from Mr. Fred. But here we say Mr. Fred said the consultant will arrive tomorrow. In the second example here, the speaker is the consultant. Who will arrive tomorrow is Mr. Fred will arrive tomorrow, said the consultant. You can realize that wrong application of punctuation creates a lot of crisis in writing. And we need to be careful with that. So let's briefly look at types of punctuation. We have a longer punctuation, used for longer pauses, shorter pauses, and punctuation for special effects. We are talking about longer pauses that show the end of an idea. For longer pauses, we have a full stop that shows that an expression has come to an end. Your sentence has come to an end. We have a full stop, we have question mark, and also exclamation mark. These three marks signify that you have written a sentence. And sentence is complete. And aside from that, we have shorter pause. Comma is introduced for you to pause a bit. Colon, semicolon, dash, brackets, and the rest. They have the special role they play. To indicate something that you need to be patient and observe something. But last one is special effects. There we have hyphen, quotation marks, apostrophe. And all these are used to show special effects in a write-up. So briefly, let's look at a few of them. We have the full stop. You know that full stop is used to end a sentence. For example, he's doing fine in his studies. The full stop shows we have come to the end of an expression. We can say that it is used to end an indirect question. Because indirect question, we just tell you what someone has done without what someone has just done or asked without stating it directly. For example, ask how he's doing in his study. He asked how he's doing in his study. You saw that someone asked a question, but the person did not ask directly. Someone else asked to present it. Because the person being asked about is still doing his study at the moment. He asked how he's doing in his study. The full stop here indicates that it is an indirect question. And moreover, it is also used with abbreviation and acronyms. But the option is optional, not compulsory, like doctor, prof, and the rest. In most of writings now, all these are being removed. But in conventional write-up, you are still expected to use them. And moreover, this so-called full stop or dots is used in internet and email addresses. Here we have www dots is there, google.com. Look at more at hotmail.com. You see it is there. It's part of internet writing. And beside that, exclamation. Exclamation is used to express surprise. It is used to express surprise. For example, bravo, hooray, ouch, and the rest of them. So exclamation is used for expression of surprise. We have the question mark used to introduce a direct question. Example, how may I help you? The question mark shows that the expression is an interrogative statement. And for shorter pauses, we have comma. Comma is used to separate items in a list. It's used to separate items in the, for example, we need stationery, furniture, curtain, and rug. We use it that way. So it's also used to separate a subordinate clause from the main clause, especially when a subordinate clause begins a sentence. For example, when you are ready for us, you should contact us. The subordinate clause, when you are ready for us, start the sentence, you see a comma here separates it. Besides that, it is used to mark a direct quotation in a reported speech. It is used to mark a direct quotation in a reported speech. For example, she said, I know what I am doing. After said, there is a comma there. I know what I am doing. So it separates the direct quotation from reported speech. So the last one is spelling. Spelling is a major issue in writing. Very serious issue. It's a major issue in writing because wrong spelling leads to creation of another word which has not been conventionally accepted. You are creating your own new word which is not conventionally acceptable. So we can state that spelling is crucial. It's a skill that we need to master when we engage in writing. Because such strongly spelled word distorts communicative ability. Distorts communicative ability of the words used in your book. And you need to master the spelling of the words. So written communication may become ineffective when it contains wrongly spelling words. And one of the problems that some people might have is when you are using AI to do everything, it just gives you anything, you place it there. Or you are typing on your phone and your phone is suggesting some word to you. If you carelessly click on a particular word, which is not actually the word you intend to use, it will distort the flow of thoughts in your write-up. So when you are writing, you need to be careful about the choice of word and the spelling of the word you have chosen. Don't just use the idea of you have heard a particular word, you commonly use it in speech. Please confirm the spelling of those words. Because when the words are wrongly spelled, there will be a lot of confusion. And there are some words that have similar form. Their similarity may create confusion in writing. And that's why you don't just take it for granted that this word is this should be this. You must confirm the spelling of each word. So there are some words that have different meaning which have similar form, like I mentioned earlier. And the issue, some of the example here, we have affect, effects. They are different. Altar, altar. The altar means a place, higher place of ritual or sacrifice. But altar here means to change. Adapt, adopts. Dairy, dairy. Is. Desert, deserts. Precede, proceed. Complement, compliments. Exalt, exalts. Extent, extents. Already, already. Allude, elude. Human, humane. Emaciate, emancipate. Sin, sin. Recent, recent. Cancel, cancel. other, other, there, there. So you realize that these words, their pronunciation are somewhat similar. And that may lead to wrong choice. And that's the reason you need to be patient when you are writing to make sure you choose the appropriate word and avoid spelling crisis in your work. So that will be that in our class today. Any question? Any question?